Okay.
You should see my big face with some earphones on.
Oh, these Mark Jones, man. Houston, San Diego. We must not be friends online.
We're not.
And if we're not, I ain't gonna find you, bro. Add me as a friend, bro. Then it'll pop up.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
I see Birmingham, Alabama. All right, so everybody, basically we're dealing with a brother from Alabama trying to go live, but we're not friends, so we got to be friends first. So, yeah, the internet, social media stuff.
So, what's your name on Facebook?
Nazir. AL hyphen. Pretty sure it should come up. MUJAAHID. Ain't too many not there. Al Mujahids.
Boy,
Coach Nazir. That might be.
Let me see if I can find
First lesson.
Yeah.
Let me see who is this.
So you the suave brother in Egyptian.
In Egyptian.
Well,
That's
no.
not a full sentence, bro. Come on, man.
But no.
I mean, you know what? That's Alabama. I ain't even tripping.
Oh, no, don't play me like
that's
that.
Me.
Brother.
That's me.
Okay, so you in Egypt. So I found you, brother. I requested you.
All right, cool. I see you. All right, now we good. Check your page out. Share that. It's like 200 Marcus Joneses.
Yeah, that's why if I ever
if you go public.
Yeah, that's if I have a child, I wouldn't name him Marcus Jones. I wouldn't name him Junior because of this.
Don't name him Michael either.
Yeah, that either.
Who? Anyway. All right, y'all. Confirm quest. All right.
Oh, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get started to the show, and then I'm going to get straight into the questions.
All right, let's go.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everyone? This is R.E.B.U.K.E.E, and this is your boy Marcus Jones, and this is the 33rd episode, and we have a hot topic for you to discuss. Once again, I want to thank everyone for supporting my podcast, and you can continue to support my podcast by sharing with your friends and family on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also support it financially by becoming a monthly donor. The prices range from 99 cents per month to $9.99 per month. Or if you don't like that route, you can send whatever your heart desires to my Cash App, $RE.B.U.K.E.E 06. That is $RE.B.U.K.E.E 06. This helps the podcast move into the direction of donating back to the Black community and one day issuing out scholarships to Black men and women attending colleges. Now, before I go into my topic, I just want to give you a little story and background why I chose this topic. A couple of years ago, I was in the barbershop, and you know how brothers are in the barbershop. We talk about various topics, sports, money, rap, and all that. But for some reason, we was talking about women. And a lot of the brothers were talking about, would it be beneficial to have another woman in the household? And it was kind of weird to hear these brothers talk about having another woman. And, you know, they was basically explaining to me that one, you know, some women are good at particular areas in areas better than others, and it would be nice to have one. Now, I went on Instagram and I found a page discussing this topic as well, and it goes very in detail, and it's very astonishing that there are Black women supporting this movement. And I found out the rapper Akon, he supports this. He actually practiced this actively. Now, also over the years, this topic has been discussed and it has been frowned upon. But I did some research on my grandmother. I did a DNA test on my grandmother, and I found out she's from the Hausa and Fulani tribe in Nigeria. And I did more research on that tribe, and these tribes practice this, what we about to discuss. What we about to discuss is polygamy. And the topic is today is two better than one. I am very honored to have for my first live Coach Nazir and his lovely wives, Fatimah and Nyla. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. I want to make sure I say it right because I saw y'all videos. I don't want to get beat up. Yeah, I don't want to get beat up. Yeah, man. What's so interesting, man, is not only that, bro. My podcast is reestablishing Black unity, knowledge, education, economics. I wanted to create this podcast to bring the Black culture together, and it's very it's honored to have you on the show, and it's also honored for you to be the first Muslim on the show. So I'm very honored to say that you are the first, because I tried to unite all of them and put all our religious beliefs and all this aside and just unite as Black people. So I'm honored to have you and your wives on the show today. My first question is,
we appreciate that. It's an honor to be here as well. So, much as we could be of service and teach people, I mean, it's part of the mission of what we're doing. So we appreciate you reaching out.
All right, appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and get into it because a lot of people, my fans, I posted this question and they had a whole lot of questions for y'all. So a lot of these questions is not from me. It's from them.
For a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So this first one is for me though. Is that what is polygamy, Coach? How long your family's been practicing, and what made you decide to practice this, although you had a wife in the beginning?
Well, first, we believe obviously there's power in words. Okay, so specificity is very important. Even though 9 out of 10 times when somebody says polygamy, they're talking about what's known as polygyny. So polygamy means having more than one spouse. All right, it's not, doesn't depend on the gender. That means a husband has multiple wives, or a wife can have multiple husbands.
Okay.
But just like, you mentioned now, barbershop talking about polygamy. In reality, probably in the barbershop talking about polygyny. The term where a man has more than one wife is polygyny. Okay. Now, when a woman has more than one husband, that's polyandry. So polygamy is the umbrella term. And under those terms, you have the man with multiple wives called polygyny, which is what we practice and what most people mean when they say polygamy. And then there's polyandry, where a woman has more than one. Okay, so specificity is important just for that reason. So we just want to kind of give a definition there. And we have been practicing polygyny almost 11 years now. Well, I have been practicing polygyny almost 11 years now. Again, because it's a man married to more than one wife. Okay. So, I guess the first question is more geared toward me. So it says, what made you decide to practice this, although you had a wife? Well, I think that's a natural part of man, see, because it's different than having a wife. Okay, having a wife means you've accepted responsibility, a commitment. You want to build a family. All right, at least for a man of value, minimally. Not just a man. A man, somebody can just take care of himself, and that's that. You have good men, bad men, all kind of stuff that's out there. The sad part is the pool of good men or men of value is extremely small. So I wanted to experience, and I become a Muslim. We were raised Christian, kindergarten, 10th grade, we were in Christian school. We were all Christians at one time, and went on our own journeys and our own searches, and we became Muslims. So I got married when I was 19. So Coach Fatimah and I have been married now over 25 years. All right, we met each other as teenagers, young teenagers, weird, barely little peach fuzz and stuff like that. But after 15 years of marriage and my, maturation and stuff like that, different opportunities presented itself. And I already knew polygyny was a part of Islam as a Muslim. I just didn't know anybody that practiced it. So it wasn't something I was like, I'm going to do in the future or anything like that. Had really no idea. But as I matured, it made more sense and stuff at the time. So I chose to participate almost 11 years ago and marry Coach Nyla, who we've been married to now almost 11 years. So it was a personal preference
Okay. Appreciate that. Now, these are for the ladies. Now, your family, I'd switch the questions up. I wanted to get in, I really want to get into your school and your coaching and all that. Your family actually teach people how to operate in relationships. Um, Explain the company and its overall purpose, because y'all don't just teach about how to operate in the family similar to yours. You also teach how to operate in monogamy as well. So can y'all ladies elaborate about the school and and the business and what it entails?
My throat seems like it's about to
You
go
good?
crazy
You
right
wanna
now.
go?
For real.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Of course, we're co-founders of outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. And this is, I'll just speak for myself. This has been a labor of love for us. I want to say that first and foremost, because we come from a place where we didn't have support in our community. Hold it like that, like I'm about to bust a freestyle. Where we didn't have support in our community. And a friend of mine told me, she said, you know what, Fatimah, I think this is your calling. Because I had done so much personal development, we all three had, and we're very invested in the mental health of our family, in a very positive way. So when you said that to me, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. But I felt as though my job was to bring families together versus push them apart, as people tried to push our family apart. So this work was necessary so that other families, men, women, had a voice. Our voices are extremely important, because then you have the initial wife voice, you have the husband that's in the middle, the one that actually practices his voice, and then you have the subsequent wife's voice. We all should be heard, because there's other families out there that need this work, and this like a mission for us. So because of the three of us deciding as a family to come out and talk about polygyny and monogamy, well, it has allowed others to do the same. So we wanted to offer services to coach, because all have been individual coaches running our own individual businesses, but we brought those businesses together and just decided to just really help together, bring couples together, bring children and their parents together that are practicing polygyny or in polygynous families.
Okay,
So
great.
what do we have?
Got some water. Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is, that's the thing of also allowing, the voices to be heard, and not only allowing. We've seen polygyny get a bad rap. Those who are successful in it, for the part, they're fairly quiet about it, for good reason, because it's not widely accepted, even though it's been around longer than monogamy has. But to be able to give people insight on what it truly is, and not the imagination or the hallucination or the stereotype of what they think it should be, or what they think it is, or like my co-wife and I, we actually did a couple of videos, but one was where people called it legalized cheating or permissible cheating or something like what Coach Nazir said at the beginning. He said it's a difference between having a woman and having a wife. So the thing is that when we decided to put our story out there, our journey out there, and our services out there, a lot of people started to come out of the woodwork stating this is something that they needed. This is something that they wanted. A lot of minds were changed, a lot of perceptions were changed, because they see what it is. And that seems to be one of the driving forces for me to continue to do this work, because we're constantly seeing more and more people understanding what it really is, and not only understanding what it really is, but really wanting to do it in the proper fashion. People always say, well, I don't have a problem with polygyny if it's done right. Well, we don't have a problem with anything if it's done right. So the problem is that polygyny is not getting its fair share of airplay or airtime. People don't know, they don't have the guidance. And we decided to be those guides in order to allow people to have that.
Great answer. Great answer. Now it's gonna have to stick with the ladies again, Coach. This next question. How was practicing this in the beginning versus practicing it now? And the ladies want to know, how can y'all keep the jealousy in check? That the emotions.
One thing that I learned is that taking away the ownership and saying the words "my man," because I remember my grandmother telling me early on, she said, he's God's man. He's not your man. He's not her man. He doesn't belong to his own children and parents. So see, he can't be yours, because if he was mine, I could stop him from dying. I could make him live as long as I want, or I could make him do whatever I want him to do. There's no ownership. And when you take away that ownership and saying mine, and that selfishness of that word can be turned into a selfish term. You feel better. So I turn my man into our, just like my children. I have more than one child. That's their father. So they don't say, my dad said, and the other child goes, my dad said, da, da, da. They say, our father said it. Our Abu said it. So when I start to change the meaning of words that society has placed on me, has placed on our family, then the jealousy can start to be in check. Instead of saying, why is he over there? It started to go, why shouldn't he be over there? That's his other house. That's his other wife. We're all the same. In our family, it's one big family.
Okay.
But words can create separation. So that's one thing I checked, were the terms and the self-talk. Not trying to rob my co-wife of her rights or our husband of his. These are basic human rights. So I'm not about to look crazy by saying that's his baby mama. No, that's his other wife. Because we don't practice that in our family, where we say, I'm his wife and that's his baby mama. If we want to do jokes, we both baby mama, but we're both wives. So we play around sometimes with that. But I really had to teach people how to talk to me about polygyny in my family. So one way was to say, he's where he's supposed to be today. He's at his wife's house. He's at his house with his wife. This is coming from my mouth. So It's a lot about that, and I'll pass them.
Yeah. Okay. I think the first question was, how was it in the beginning versus how it is now?
Correct.
It's a lot smoother now. It's a lot smoother. A lot of that comes with communication, personal development, working on ourselves more than we're working on anything else. So yeah, and realizing that the journey takes time, realizing that everybody has their own time and their own method of processing things and handling things, and giving that space and giving the opportunity to everybody. So that's that's one of the things. And how to curb the jealousy. Realize that jealousy is a normal thing, that is normal to be jealous. However, realize what it really is. We talk about clarity and what words mean. And I always look at jealous, or the difference between jealousy and envy. Now, envy is that you don't want the other person to have what they have. Being jealous, you may want what they have, but not want to take what they have. Like you may want their feeling of happiness. You see that they're happy. You want to feel that happiness. You want to feel some joy. You want to feel that stuff, but you don't want to take that away from them. So the thing is, like, how can I get that too? So jealousy, sometimes we can use our jealousies to fuel our betterment, so to speak. We can use our jealousies to say, okay, how can I be better? Or what am I not doing right? Or what am I, is this true, the things that I'm thinking? Because sometimes if we do allow our jealousies to overcome us and overtake us and get into the bad side of it, where it's controlling our life, controlling how we are interacting with each other, controlling the way we feel about certain things in a way that is negative, then we have to ask ourselves the proper questions. Is this true? Whatever I'm feeling, is it true? Why am I feeling this way? Is there a possible reason? Is there a possible way that I could be creating these things? When we start looking into ourselves as the problem and the solution, we start to become a lot better because we're not giving away our control of, improving our lives or improving our relationships. So a lot of people ask, how did my co-wife and I become so close? It wasn't always like that. Now, we were always cordial. Because we, believe in that, and we believe in respecting each other. But how we became so close is that we communicated with one another. We respected each other's differences. We got to know each other more, and communication was a big deal. And any type of jealousy is just our own thoughts. Like with me, it'll be any type of insecurity or anything that I know I need to improve or be better. So it's nothing that she's done to me to make me feel this way. So once we realize it's either in our own heads or something that we are creating, then we can fix that.
Thank you. Wonderful answer, ladies. Wonderful. Now, Coach, I'm going to skip to this question because I'm going to skip to number 4. I'm going to go to this question because I watched the video, and I'm quite sure you've seen this video. I think it's a Nigerian network, and this woman was basically explaining the human nature of men. They're saying that, the man produces so much amount of sperm, and the woman only produces produces an egg once a month. And she basically explains that you can take 30 men and they can populate the whole earth. And I was like, you know what? She makes a lot of sense. I didn't say that out loud, but she does make a lot of sense. Sisters don't want you to make sense. But my question is for you, bro. Do you think men are naturally you said is naturally
Polygynous.
Yeah, polygynous.
Yeah, no doubt. Yes. I mean, it's relatively simple to see. It doesn't take many scientific or sociological experiments to know this stuff. I mean, we could look at our own relatives. I have uncles, I have grandfathers, I have, people, they do the thing. The challenge is we give this whole, like a facade. We prefer a really, really pretty, sexy lie than just the blunt truth. We know what it is.
See me and you on the same page, brother. Me and you on the same page. I tell black women all the time, like, y'all like a smooth liar than a blunt truth taker. But go ahead, bro. Go ahead and preach now. Go ahead.
Now, again, and I don't like to generalize because there are a lot of sisters that already know. There are sisters that are already open to it, already mature and conscious to these basic facts and these truths. I mean, I think there was a podcast, a dead ass podcast with DeVal and his wife. What's his name? His name DeVal, right? Yeah,
right.
And Kadeen. And he was talking. He felt he was pressured into monogamy. He was like, "Look, it's just on a biological level. I'm a man. I have this drive. I have all this, and with monogamy, you're gonna satisfy all of that for me." But I'm like, "Hey, baby, you like, I got a headache, or I'm tired, or I'm this or that." So he felt he was pressured into it, and they had a good discussion and everything. And we need to be real with it. But again, that's just base level, because one of the things my wives tell people, they're like, "Look," and we know it's not for every man. I mean, we're pro morals, so we're not anti-monogamy. We pro morals to begin with. So we just want to raise some awareness to actually black love, real black love, the black love you don't see. You will more see homosexuals talking about black love and be on a show and be portrayed than polygyny, which is the only form of polygamy that's actually family-based. Everybody knows who the father is. He got to provide for the family. We talking about to take village. This is not brand new stuff. When you look at all scriptures, for example, it talks about it. Now, again, we Muslims, so we follow the Quran. Islam simply came and restricted and legislated. When I was Christian, they talk about how Solomon had 700 wives, but 300 concubines. Or Prophet Jacob had 4 wives. Abraham had 2 wives. This is, it's the exception to only have one. And if we look at it, we just look at the technological advances over the last couple hundred years. Women, they was pretty much out trying to be with the man who's the most secure, so or has that can provide the most security. So even today, when the guys, you had these clothes that you flashy or the cars or all these things, women are looking for security. This is basic stuff in the nature, but they have to dial themselves up to get the attention of men. And we talk about how women are seduced by their ears, while men are seduced. We like what we see. Well, women like what they hear. You know what I'm saying? This is just normal, natural, biological stuff. It ain't something new to the Black community. I mean, we can point out people's leaders, whether it's a Jesse Jackson or whether it's a Jimmy Swaggart or this preacher over here and that man minister over there. Scripture tells them to marry them, because when you marry them, that's responsibility. If we look at the reality, and monogamy is to help satisfy and protect men. It's not really men. It's saying, listen, you got this one legal wife here. You take care of what comes from that. Anybody else? No. They're to the side. You're not responsible for that. Despite the fact of the need, polygyny is an ancient solution to a modern problem as well. I come from a city where 8 out of 10 households, Black households, are run by single parents, single mothers in particular. All right. And then women still have to, well, you go get your own man to go do this. You know what? Listen, yeah, that sounds good. In reality, it sounds great. But where's this pool of good men? All right, see, because Coach Fatimah and I, we have 7 children. Coach Nyla and I, we have 5. I have 3 biological sons. But out of these, we have daughters. Now, I'm just trying to marry my children. We have Coach Fatimah. All of our daughters are grown. The youngest is 18. One of them is married and definitely grateful. It's hard to find good men to begin with. And I'm looking for them. You know what I'm saying? And I also have a bar. So when we talk about in America, every 18 seconds, a woman goes into the emergency domestic violence. Let's not talk about these down low dudes or this homosexuality is constantly pushed. Every Black show that look like it's going to be good, here's a Trojan horse of this gayness they got to, you know what I'm saying? Then you got still the repercussions of mass incarceration. You have those that just ain't fit, somebody who's not even attractive to begin with, you know what I'm saying? Or it's tax flipping season, or you see stuff talking about, oh, baby, buy me the new PS5. Yeah, I know it's a joke, but it really ain't a joke. It comes from somewhere. There's truth to that. You know, so man, you got to be more than just a man. You got to be a man of value before you go and talk king talk, because it requires something. You know, and there are more women. Again, generally, you talk about monogamy, looking for so on and so forth. There are more women who are willing to share a man, if you will, or share somebody who is that type of person. So you could take, let's say, Val or somebody, let's say somebody's financially stable, they have this and that, but they help provide for your household, take care of the children, everything else, but they switch every other night or every few nights or something like that. They do it all the time. When we look at basketball stars, $100 million contracts, football stars, $100 million contracts, and they married, we know their understanding. Entanglement with Jada and Will was not, you know, even in the interview that they put out, she was like, oh, she didn't put him all the way on blast, but we know their understandings and arrangements. So we'd be foolish to think it's not something not only natural and doable, but that's something that's ostracized only because of fear and insecurity women think it could possibly happen to them, even if they're not even in the pool of it happening. But it's easier for a man to cheat, to deal with prostitution, all kind of other stuff, than it is to deal with taking care of an actual family and being because it requires that you're more than average. That makes sense.
Agreed. Now I'm going to keep the mic on you, Coach Nazir. You pointed out women outnumber men on this earth. That's just facts. And Black women, and you know, I hear it too, brother. They constantly complaining about these. There's no good men, and they want to use incarceration rate. I just think that they're not attracted to them. You know what I'm saying? They more materialistic. You got to be 6'5", you know, driving a Lamborghini and you know, and got to have the name Young in front of your name, Young Jeezy or Young Merc or whatever. So, so why, if with Black women outnumber Black men, why would they won't accept this type of lifestyle? I mean, I just think it's
Yeah,
just,
I don't like to generalize. I don't like to generalize because there are a number of women. I can't say many. There are a number of women that talk on polygyny. I mean, whether it's like that's Sister Ayana or even Erica Lachey and other jewels that really talk about a lot of its wisdom. So there are those who do. However, we can go into the whole PTSS, if you will, the post-traumatic slave syndrome that we have. There are a lot of things that we accept that are not from our culture, regardless. Like you said, you looked up your grandmother's ancestry and found where you come from, Africa, that they practice polygyny. Which is true to this day, they still do, whether it's Akon or people look at Janet Jackson. You know that the baby she had at 50, she was the fourth wife to a Muslim brother who was a billionaire, and I forget what country. They were married for 5 years. She was his fourth wife. Not fourth wife like he was married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced. No, he had 4 at a time. She was number 4. Janet.
wow.
You know what I'm saying? So she practiced polygyny and everything else. You know, or you look at being real or talking about ostracizing, you got Jay-Z with 444, right? He got Beyonce supposed to be a 10, got all this type of stuff going, but for some reason in society, they still pushing the whole monogamy thing. All right, where he would have to be more of a man to step up if he wanted to go ahead and step out, if that makes sense. Now, now here's the challenge. When we talk about pro morals, polygyny is not a solution for somebody who ain't got morals. Like, I'm gonna step out, but let me go ahead and marry her because I just can't control myself. That's foolish. That's a lack of discipline. And the lack of the first rule of breaking is the lack of self-discipline, of manhood. You can't control your desires and control things to find a solution to these challenges that you have, then you're not really a man. You're not on that path. So this is not a solution for immoral behavior. Okay, that's acting on something immorally. Wherever you have natural behavior, Islam in general comes to deal with that. It comes to satisfy whatever situations or desires and things that you have in a moral fashion. All right, if that makes sense to you. But I can't speak on why Black women would say something. It'd be better to hear from either Coach Nyla or Coach Fatimah.
Okay. What?
I just wanted to, just a little quick fun fact. I wish I could remember what city or what place this is. It's in I don't know if it's somewhere in Asia. This country has, the majority of this country is women. And when they date, it's not foreign for them to date the same guy multiple times because there's not a lot of men there. So they're not upset about this at all. It's expected. We're in a society that tells us you can't share, that something is mine, and no one has any rights to it but me. It's a conditioning that happens. And one thing we find out, like myself, for example, since my grandpa wasn't perfect and my father wasn't perfect, and they all practiced having more than one woman or juggling. My father had 5 baby mamas and 5 kids, 4 baby mamas. My mother has 5 kids and 4 fathers. So there's a conditioning that happens when you have those kind of parents. You go, okay, my grandpa acted up, my dad acted up, my husband, I'll be damned if he act up. I'll be damned if I'm going to share him. See? But we don't know what we're going to do. That's why Muslims say, inshallah, God willing, I won't have to deal with X, Y, and Z. But there's something in us, I think, as Black women, when we've seen our families before us fail us. So we don't want our family to fail. And when we look at men sharing women, we look at that as failure, instant failure, because he can't love me at the same time that he loves someone else. Why not? We love our children. I love all 7 of my children at the same time. I love my parents at the same exact time. See, one thing that women need to figure out is that men have bigger hearts than we think they have. And we need to quit putting limitations on how much they can love and how many. Because we might feel like we don't want to juggle more than one man. We don't think, but maybe they want to juggle more than one wife. And maybe they have the ability to do that. I would never want to be a man because the responsibility to have more than one wife is a big deal. This is not a hobby. It's a lifestyle. It happens every single day. I like what my co-wife was saying. People go, well, when is Nazir's day with you, Fatimah? No, it's his day with us. See, it's what you tell yourself, because then that word share, it doesn't bother you so much when you have that good healthy self-talk. about what a man can and cannot do. Because I don't live in a man's body, so I can't put those limitations on what he can and he can't do. You know what I'm saying? We're different. We're different, and we need to quit acting like we're in men's bodies and we understand fully how it is. No, I don't. Coach Nazir says it all the time. It's like us trying to explain labor and delivery to him. He can sit there and watch it and help
Indeed.
with it.
Indeed.
Well, he can't get with us when we start explaining what it's like.
Indeed.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Pass the mic.
Right. Well, Coach Nyla, I'm going to go straight to this question because I heard this when I was telling everybody I was going to do this topic, and a lot of women, they despise your husband. Oh, why he get to practice it? Why can't the women practice it? You know, so tell me, you know, can you explain the women, the term for women having multiple husbands, and is it beneficial for the Black community for them to do that?
Okay, couple things. Okay, polyandry, that's the term, women having multiple husbands. Do not have a desire to do that at all. My co-wife and I, we talked about that a number of times because that is usually, the thing is, it's usually a knee-jerk reaction. If women really thought about what that entailed, yeah, if they really thought about that, they wouldn't even entertain the thought, because when it comes down to it, it's responsibility. The thing is, it's not just a sexual thing. And that's what people put it in their heads, like that's what it is. Not that it's about responsibility, not that it's about rights, not that it's about, taking care of the responsibilities that you have as a spouse. It's not the same. And we talked about that. We pretty much opened up with it. It's different of having a woman versus having a wife, like, oh, we have multiple women or having multiple wives. Same thing, different than having multiple men, having multiple husbands, yeah. And they got different shows, The Bachelorette and everything that people, it was something that I saw where they said, women who have a problem with polygyny or have a problem with this, are the women who watch these shows and they watch The Bachelor, they watch and they root for this stuff and everything like that, but can't stand it or say they can't stand it. But it's usually a knee-jerk reaction. Seriously, like people say, well, if he can have more than one, why can't I have more than one? But then when you really look at it, and I asked them, I was like, do you have sons? Have you seen football? Have you ever watched any of these things where you see the testosterone levels increase in men?
Exactly.
The if you want some beta men, maybe that may work. But as women.
See, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Coach Nyla. It's just that, and I was thinking that as well. I was like, and I'm looking at your husband, and I can look at him, and I can tell he's an alpha male. You get what I'm saying? I am an alpha male. I'm an alpha male. There's no way in Hades we're sharing a woman. Somebody's dying, or multiple bodies. That's because you just brought out a key element, the testosterone. When I play football, and when we touch that field, it's another level. It's like I got to kill this mother effer in front of me because he's trying to kill me. But go ahead. I'm sorry. You touched the point that I totally agree.
There you go. See, you already proved the point. See,
unless they're beta men, there's no way no two alphas going to do that. But go ahead.
Exactly. But when you think about it, women don't really want beta men, not a real woman anyway. And, I'm really just putting it out there. Women want security. We love we love knowing that men are going to be men. Men want to be protectors. They want to be providers. Women don't want, there are women who've done stuff. We talk about Erica Lachey. She actually did a live or a video when she talked about, I want to be a woman. I want to be able to be soft. You know, I don't want like I want to. Yeah, exactly. And we always say like, yeah, when it comes down to that, men are not women with penises, and women are not. I mean, women are not men with vaginas. It's just, that's not how it goes. You know, we are not the same. We are not the same. It's okay for us to be different. And women want a strong man. Women want men who, you know, are wise, are leaders. You're not going to get that when you are the one that's calling all the shots as a woman. You're not going to get that. You're going to crush all of that, you know. And
So
men,
I'm
you know,
going
we
to
talk about that
leave.
masculine and feminine in it. You know, and we talk about that masculine versus feminine, or the masculine energy. Men don't want a masculine woman, just
Preach,
like women don't want a feminine man.
preach.
And then my grandmother told me something when I was a teenager, right before those teenage years. And there was nothing but boys in the neighborhood. And she's like, look, I don't want you standing with nothing but boys. And I said, well, why? They're my friends. Don't look right. She said, you're going to be labeled something you don't want to be labeled. So when I got older, and then she started talking to me about sex, said men are built to give, women are built to receive. It's anatomy. So women are not through anatomy. And Coach Nyla, we met at the time, and I was in nursing school for 2 years. So we know anatomy. Structurally, we're not built physically to receive multiple men. All our plumbing to be toe up. Okay. So I'm just, hey.
That's why I love
Might
y'all,
have
man.
just
Y'all
became
real.
this what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about what women have to do with men, and you have multiple husbands doing that, you won't be able to walk. I mean, let's talk about it. You won't be able to walk because we're built to receive, give like men give. And we need to quit trying to say it's just the same. We're the same. I'm sure getting kicked in the nuts is different than getting kicked somewhere or getting kicked in the boob for a woman. And they would go, no, it feels the same. No, it doesn't.
No, it don't.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You see what I'm saying? But we want to just be equal, like just be just the same so bad. It's not a competition. We're different, and we need to understand that and accept it. See, understanding and accepting that is two different things. You know,
Indeed.
we're not designed that way. We're not designed to take all the men.
Nature has this way of cleaning things out. When something doesn't work right, it doesn't duplicate. So if we were the same, that'd be actually two men. That don't work in nature. If it's two women, don't work in nature. That's self-destructive. Whereas again, we talked about it being natural and being driven, where polyandry, you can't really point to any polyandrous societies that actually really survived or that you even know of. We can point to polygyny today in different countries. And again, people can do whatever they choose to do, but we encourage people to think, reflect. We're Muslims, polygyny under the bounds of Islam, but we're not here to teach people, oh, this is the Islamic ruling. There's a lot of information on Islamic rulings and everything like that. We teach how to practically be better as a human, whether you're single, whether married to one, you're looking at practicing polygyny. Again, we give it more airtime because it doesn't get enough. And they got shows, Escaping Polygamy or Seeking Sister Wife. And, it's this TV show reality type stuff. And a lot of times it's about Mormons, or it's about people that really aren't coming from a moral perspective, or from us and our background, we can't relate to them. So we really feeling the void there, and empowering people in the process. Everything looks different. By the way, you haven't asked the question, but I'm letting you know, no, we don't all live together. That's a question we get all the time. You all live in the same house? No, close proximity, like half. But no, not in the same house. Just to let you know.
Good. Thank you.
For those who
answer
wonder.
a question that I don't need to ask. Thank you, brother. Now, I want to ask a question that I really want to ask. How did you explain this lifestyle to your children And are they cool with this lifestyle?
All right. They at first they, I understand that with having 4 daughters, daughters have jealousies for their father. That has
Indeed.
nothing to do with me. It is their father. And I tell it all the time. Our 23-year-old daughter, she'll go into these moods where she'll go, yeah, that one time that cashier asked when we were R.E.B.U.K.E.E nieces. They call their father R.E.B.U.K.E.E niece. Why we gotta be his nieces? Why can't we be his daughters? I said, well, the woman didn't know no better. She said, yeah, but she liked him. That's why the fool thought we were nieces. That was her jealousy. I wasn't there. I wasn't even in the store with them. And he didn't even know what was going on. She'll bring it up now. So, of course, early on, they were going, okay, I'm just used to seeing you two. I'm not used to seeing him with anyone but you. So the optics of it was difficult. The idea of it, the actually practicing it was difficult. But they never took away the fact and called my co-wife anything other than wife. They'd say Abu's wife, or they'd say Sister Nyla, and they still do. And now they embrace her wholeheartedly. But one thing she didn't do that I would really, and I've trained around something that she offered us, and that was not to push us too fast or push herself down our throats. Are y'all gonna like me? I'm gonna make y'all like me. And she just wasn't that way. She let everyone process things as slowly as it went, without pushing. And even to this day, our daughters are so happy about that. They were like, you know what? I like that she didn't show up and like in our face and, oh, look at me. And, it wasn't this rubbing polygyny in our children's faces. And I think with their healing, but they know that that's something that came from my co-wife. You know what I'm saying? So that helped them so much. To this day, I think it still does. Like our oldest daughter was the hardest one. She was, whoo, she's almost set up like a guy with her energy. She's little, but she's very firm and stern. And, and she'll just hit you with everything straight in the face. Like, I don't like this and I want him here. And she was almost like a little sergeant with it. But when she came to meet my co-wife, she was like, you know what, I really like her a lot because I don't think she's putting on any airs. I don't think she's faking. I don't think she's trying to get brownie points with us. And the oldest child of the 10 would not say that unless she meant it. So it helped her so much to be able to accept everything and say, because this person is the way she's representing herself and it's a fact and it's not fake, that help with their healing. So shout out to Coach Nyla and who she says she is.
And keep in mind, one second, keep in mind too that right now we're going into our year 11. So don't compare, people shouldn't compare our year 11 even to our year 1, okay, or our chapter 10 to our chapter 1. So there's a lot of growth in the process. But my oldest children, they were young teenagers, early teens, 2 early teens, and then the rest were younger. So everybody else is normal. I mean, for example, the boys, I had 4 daughters first, and then followed by 6 boys. All right, so I have 10 biological children, then have bonus children, and Coach Nazir is going to speak on that in a second with the bonus children. So what's normal, first of all, you teach them life. Okay, we teach them life. Our children know about this agenda. We know, they know about the war on the black family to begin with. See homosexuality, these different commercials now, and we discuss these different things. They know how to read between the line because not only are we black, all right, which has always been a problem sitting here in America, spelled with a triple K, but now we Muslim too. And we try to look at, Muslims or Islam as though it's a foreign thing. So you hear this Al-Qaeda and ISIS, but you forget about Malcolm. You forget about Kunta Kinte. You forget about us being over here far before Columbus. So we have to teach our children all of these different things. So they know that polygyny is a form of marriage, which is new. And it was also different from the way social engineering is set up. When you look at morals, now if you say something bad about homosexual, you just can't even have your own opinion. It doesn't mean you want to hurt them or harm them. No, you just say, look, I don't agree with the lifestyle. It is what it is. It's something that's self-destructive, not coming to you from a religious viewpoint. If everybody did it, it's the end of the human race. Boom. I can have my own opinion. Anybody can have whatever their opinion about polygyny and otherwise. But we live in such a society that has a social construct against morals. So now the people have something moral, which is actually the majority, no matter what their belief is or lack of thereof. Just in the whole idea of self-preservation and your instinct to survive. If you speak against that, you're looked at as crazy because you're talking about something moral. That right there is a challenge. So we teach our children about that. We teach about polygyny, how it looks, but I also let my children know I'm married to my wives. I'm available at all times to them, to everybody. And I demonstrated that because you can say one thing, but you have to be demonstrable. I don't want to be like my father. We all come from different levels of trauma and backgrounds and experiences that we've all had. All right. But one thing I did not want to do was be the weak soul that sits there and say, do what I say do, don't do what I do. That's some of the most hypocritical behavior, period. And I don't want to demonstrate that in front of my children. Again, it's one thing to be a man and talk all of that. It's another thing to be a man of value and then strive to be better. Because I'm not the same person I was back then. I didn't have enough courage, the way things needed to go. I didn't have trying to figure stuff out. So you try stuff like Cat Williams said, you try it, don't work, try to get, there's a lot of different things that occur. So in that process of growth and commitment, then you actually grow, then you get better, then you develop a system, and you're able to communicate better, you're able to listen better and have more patience. You have to become more as a man to tap into your other side to be able to give them what they need, simultaneously, if that makes sense. So we didn't, so that structure for the older children, they had to come around because they were a little older. They were teenagers at the time. Other kids, it's no problem. The little ones right now, it's nothing. It is what it is. They're like, we're going to go to the other house today. Can we go over here? Today we had our family meeting. All of us together. Every Thursday we have our family meeting. We're around a big, the adults and stuff. We're around a big table. We talking about plans and investing and all kind of stuff for the family. Everybody's there. We are on one side of the table. The kids are on the other side, plus the edges, because it's a bunch of them. And then the other little kids are playing and running around. We do this. And we don't only meet once a week, but we do these different types of things. But we had to get to that. That wasn't happening in 1, 2, 3, 4, year 5, but it was a process, so as that, come here, Suleiman. As that, so you come behind me. All right, this is my son, Suleiman, 13, big dude, representing, hoping, Green Bay do the thing. Here, he got a question. Answer.
You want me to answer the question again? How was it adjusting to this new lifestyle when you was introduced to it?
It was all right because I remember playing with my siblings, my older sisters, when I was like 8 years old. I wonder what would it be like if we had stepsisters or older brothers that we never knew about, and it happened. And it actually was a big surprise as I was growing up, and now I have more responsibilities. I'm growing more into those responsibilities, so I'm happy about that. And polygyny is all right.
You're right. He gone now.
Wow. Okay. I can tell he got a little wisdom to him. So you're doing the right thing, brother.
He's a cute.
We work.
Gosh. Yeah.
And you were talked about
I answered the question about the speaking of it, because I'm like, I still have to talk to my kids. Sometimes it gets to the point where people say, well, you're the incoming wife and everything like that. So, it's a lot of stuff that happens, or that the initial wife goes through, or the initial family or anything goes through, that we don't feel it on this other side too. So hence having the voice of the second wife, or the incoming wife, or subsequent wife, like my co-wife said, about we all have a voice, we all have things to talk about. And the thing is that I had 2 children entering into polygyny. I had a child from a previous relationship before Islam, and I had a child from a previous marriage. And then, I was a single mom again for a while. So the thing is, I had to explain not only polygyny to my children, but a bonus dad coming in. They were dealing with, listen to what mom got to say, listen to what Umi got to say. Now you have to understand that not only are you going to get information from me, you're going to get information from your bonus dad. You're going to get information from your, from your bonus Umi. And they just call her Umi. So you're going to get this information. So I had to realize that I need to prepare them for this new journey, this new phase, this new part in their lives, because this is going to be something that will change their lives. Their lives are not going to be the same. They're not going to be, it's not just going to be us. It's not just going to be, well, you ain't my daddy. We're not going to have that, So you want to make sure that you get them to understand, or at least let them know what this, what it looks like. My oldest son, he's 21 now. He made he made a comment. He was like, I am so glad that I was raised the way I was. He said, and he's like a straight up advocate for people try to say stuff. He can, my gosh, I don't have to say much of anything. He'd be like, yeah, and this is that, and this is why you don't know what you're talking about, because this and that, whatever. So he's real kind, but he very stern about what he grew up in. And he grew up in an environment that communication was key. That communication was, if you wanted to know something, come and ask. I'm not going to hide anything from you. I'm not going to keep anything from you. But if I haven't told you anything and something that you want to know, come and ask me. So, I had to prepare them. I had to prepare them for what life may look like. And it wasn't anything, the one thing I didn't prepare them for, because I didn't even prepare myself for, was the difficulties in transitioning in the beginning years. However, they didn't even know. I was going through the stuff. Whatever the difficulties were, they didn't see it. They didn't see it through my co-wife. They didn't see it through me. They didn't see it through our husband. They didn't see that because I didn't allow that. We didn't allow that. So what they saw was what I allowed them to see. But I spoke to them, I spoke to them in a way of wanting them to understand what the positive aspects of what is going to be entered into their lives, or what the new journey or the new phase. Because even when I was going through some of the rough patches at the beginning, I didn't let my mom know. I didn't let pretty much anybody know I was going through what I was going through without, inserting anybody else, because my mental was, I always saw a bigger picture of things being where it is today, being better than what it was before. And I would never want to go back to tell other people like, oh, well, it's different now. And they can only remember the negative stuff that I was telling them. So I did not want to put a negative voice to polygyny, and I didn't want to put a negative voice to Islam, because people don't see that, oh, it's just you going through this thing, or it's just your family going through this thing. They'll lump it into polygyny, or they'll lump it into Islam. They're like, these Muslims like this, and these people practicing polygyny, they do it this, and I didn't want that to be the case. So proper communication is key, and knowing what you want to put across. I remember my mom saying, people gonna talk, so give them something to talk about. And my mentor was always, you give them the narrative. You control the narrative of what you want people to say, because people gonna talk regardless. But if you don't give them nothing crazy to talk about, they don't have nothing to say. And if they do, that's just them speculating, because you didn't give it to them.
Yeah, Coach Fatimah.
Yes.
I want to answer this question because I was talking to a woman that she said she practiced it, but she said it's the total opposite what you and your co-wife and your husband is saying. What are the negatives? What are some of the negative stereotypes that you hear about people practicing your lifestyle? Because she's basically told me it's really just about sex. That's what it is. When she was doing it, it was just that. But y'all,
I used to have it a lot, and I wasn't married, so it ain't about that. So when they say that, you can get that anywhere. So from you can get it, you can get that. Okay, now you don't have to be married to get sex. because my
Mhm.
parents got me and they weren't married. So
Right.
you don't have to get married to have sex. However, you should be married. But we're grown and people do what they want to do. But people are going to differ from what we say. Yeah, they will. It's not just about sex. Some of the stereotypes are that we have low self-esteem. We're scared to leave. I'm going to leave Coach Nazir because I'm going to die. I came here by myself. I'm going to leave by myself. So we all will. That's one thing that we're airheads. He's got us doing the business. We don't really want to be here. We really don't get along behind the scenes. It's all for we're with him for his money. He's with her for her money. We've heard that one. What
Yep.
else? I'm sick. I must be terminally ill. I'm terminal. We're all terminal. We all gonna die. So I must be sick. That's why he got another one. And oh, she's younger. That's why he got another wife older than her, like I'm on a cane and collecting AARP or something. There's so many stereotypes. I could go on and on and on. He doesn't love me. That's why he got another wife. He's trying to make me divorce him. She's trying to make me divorce him by being here. So that you could just go on and on with different stereotypes. But the one of the most hurtful ones was that Coach Nyla is somehow some replacement for me. First of all, I'm irreplaceable. We
Uh-oh.
all are.
Uh-oh.
We all are because we're all created differently, different ways. We all have our strengths. We all have our own our weaknesses, and we're all individuals. You know, um, people try to make comparisons or create competitions. They think it's a competition between Coach Nyla and I. I'm over 40, you know, and we're all over 40. And I don't have time. I didn't compete with girls when I was in high school over him. So I'm not going to do that now. I've never done that. So, and that's part of being raised by Southern people that just were like, look, you were somebody before y'all met each other. You're going to be somebody when each other's gone. So my grandma used to say that all the time. And I never wanted to make it a competition, but people try to say this is all a competition. This is all for brownie points for Coach Nadir. It's all about him. One thing I learned about men in polygyny is if they're doing polygyny right, they don't want to be the star. They don't want to look like a pimp. They don't want to look like they're collecting women because in our culture, it's haram, it's sinful, it's not allowed, it's prohibited. So that's one of the major stereotypes, some of the major stereotypes.
I'm glad you addressed that because there was a woman that was, I asked the question and she was like, make sure you ask them, or, you know, and she's like, I'm a psychology major. Make sure you ask them they're not brainwashed, or I was like,
Oh, she's a major. Then we should go ahead and let her know to go ahead and check out Deborah Majid, who's a PhD, who wrote a book called Black Women Sharing Their Men in Polygyny. Look up Deborah Majid in polygamy. Look it up online. You'll find her book. So,
okay,
you know.
cool. Yeah.
And
So,
if you want to look at, to even go deeper into why the United States in particular only pushes monogamy, it was part of white identity. There's a book called Public Vows by Harvard professor and PhD, Dr. Nancy Cott. The book is called Public Vows. And a part of the US's push towards white supremacy is to make itself or differentiate itself from the rest of the world is to push monogamy over anything, because monogamy pretty much means you're married to one wife legally, but you can have an unlimited number, an unrestricted number of girlfriends, boyfriends, jump downs, concubines, mistresses, whatever you want to call them. You can have that unlimited. Okay, so that monogamy allows for that. So understand where it came from and how it was designed and how it actually is not working that well right now. So, you know, it's not a point to really argue one way or the other. The main thing is to just argue morals, because when you're dealing with someone with morals and character, then you don't have to worry about them abusing or oppressing you, period. That's really the main thing. Whether you're married to one or more, if that person has morals, you will be safe in protecting the marriage. But also on the flip side, I remember before practicing polygyny way back, and a friend of mine had just accepted Islam, become Muslim, and she said, well, I ain't trying to hear nothing about Islam because they can marry more than one wife. And instead of, he was trying to convince her with the Bible, talking about all these guys had it. But then I just asked her a question. I was like, well, if there's a doctor, and today I asked just somebody that people know, let's say celebrity, let's say Russell Wilson. All right, he married to Sierra. He married to Sierra, got these kids. You got Future hating on him and all that kind of stuff, right? Just something that's well known in our community, right? No, you got that right. So we had these different philosophies. Let me ask you a question though. If they put it out there, listen, they have an open marriage. He wants to practice polygyny. All right, Sierra's good with it and stuff like that. He provided with home and help raise their children like he's raising Future kid and everything else and so on. So how many women do you think could try to apply for that or try to qualify for that? You know what I'm saying? How many would be open for that?
Unlimited.
You know, I mean, there'll be limits, of course, but just think about that. Think about that naturally and how that reflects. Now think about it from the flip side. How many dudes going to sign up to be with Beyonce and share with a whole bunch of other guys? Again, that goes to that natural aspect. It's not something that's normal. You know what I'm saying? Will there be some? Yeah, of course there'll be some. You know what I mean? So it goes into that natural part. So let's be real about it. You just haven't met the right individual, or maybe you haven't seen the circumstances right, or perhaps you haven't seen it practice well at all because so much ostracizing and talking crazy because of fear and insecurity of it happening to you. So you got to try to push back on it. But how many of our relatives, and being real, do we know that's going ahead and knowing that their husband is out there?
Papa was a rolling stone.
You know what
I'm
You know what I'm saying? I mean, even you know, my wife's grandmother talked about, she said she believed everything in Islam. She's like, you know, I believe in everything, except that you have more than one wife. She said this. But regardless of that, though, what she said to me was really, really weird and hypocritical. She said, you know what? She knew her husband had all these other women all around town. She knew it. He knew she knew it. All her friends even knew it. And she said, it's okay. It's fine. As long as you don't start taking money out this house. And when that happened after, how long was it? Married about 30 years or so. After married 32, once he started doing that, then she divorced him. So she knew all this stuff. How many women we know dealing with that right now? How many women we know, sadly, getting STDs or what they call now today, STIs and all kind of other stuff. There's an illegitimate children coming about that don't know all these types of things happening because we live in an immoral society where polygyny isn't even an option because it demands that the man be worth it. He got to be a leader. He has to actually step up. But if you don't, and we already know the need that's out there, then we get exactly what we get. And that's what we deserve, unfortunately.
We got to be brainwashed. We got to be, because they got to find a reason why two women would sit between this man and be his wives. They got to be brainwashed. They got to be crazy. There's got to be something wrong.
Dumb women ain't attractive, not to me.
Me?
Nah. Mm-mm.
I ain't smart to be dumb. So, I was just thinking about
put the mic to your
things. It was Oprah.
Put the mic to
It
your
was a
mouth
Oprah Winfrey-
closer.
Oh, it was an Oprah Winfrey episode a while ago, and it was talking about these men, like who cheated and everything like that. And she was asking them why and everything. It was this one guy on there. I won't forget it. Like it was this one guy. Yeah. And it was one guy, and he was like hurt, like he was crying and everything. And she was like, well, why are you crying? And he was like, well, for one, he's like, he don't want to hurt his wife. He's like, he didn't want to hurt her. He loved his wife. And then I guess she asked about, the other woman, like, why did you? He was like, I love her. He's like, he loved this other woman. And so that's what we talk about when polygyny is not an option, when you don't put it out there. It's so many things. I was like listening to different songs back in the day. I'm like, this stuff was already put out there. You got these men out here talking about these multiple women.
Oh, my favorite song. Hold on, me. Trying to love too. So ain't easy to do.
Yeah, I can't, you can't. Yeah, piece of my love. You can't have all of me because I'm not totally free. You got that. So you got these different things. And it's like it was already, this stuff is not brand new. So it's like, why? But it's the thing, like the facade of saying, well, she ain't the real one. It goes to T.I. and Tiny. I'll go back to that. When she was like, well, when the side chick decided she wanted to step up and talk about, what he doing for her and this and that, and, that she is this and she is that. That's what made her mad. She knew. She was like, she just needs to stay in her place. So it's these different things when it's like, okay, you're okay with everything as long as your man is not being a man, or as long as he's being a man to you, but he can be immoral somewhere else. So it's these different things where I'm not, the word I'm not looking for is hypocritical, but it doesn't make sense. It's so, yes, it's double standard. This facade is not being authentic, but you okay with that. See, like I said, we're trying to get people to think. If you're really thinking about it, like people even talk about, oh, well, if you felt, that somebody is going to be hurt, or the first wife is going to be hurt, or, this other person is going to be hurt. It's hurt all around the board. If we're talking about emotions, we all have emotions. We're all going through stuff, but then people say, well, you put yourself through it. That's life. We're going to get hurt through life. Babies fall when they try to walk and they get hurt. And, they get up and they grow and they keep walking. It's these different things. Sometimes our biggest successes or some of our biggest growth come through pain. When we're too busy trying to avoid some type of pain or some type of thing that makes us insecure, we stifle our growth. And sometimes people got to think, just think a little bit. Trying to be so hard pressed to find the negative in every single thing, especially something as beneficial as polygyny and honorable as polygyny.
Mm-hmm. All right, I know
the mic. We ain't gonna do that.
No, it's all good.
Right.
It's all good. This is the last question. I know y'all family. Y'all got things to do. What advice you want to give to the Black community or the Black people that is on the edge of considering practicing polygyny? What advice would you give to them? I know you have your school and you teach them all that. So,
yeah.
But the ones that are watching live on your Instagram and the ones that are watching live on my Facebook, what advice you want to give to them in order for them to better prepare them to go to this life?
What advice do we want to give to the Black community that's considering practicing polygyny?
Okay. All
right, I'll say it from the male's perspective first. One, go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. All right. Download our 5 keys to fulfilling marriage, especially in polygyny. All right. Because we talk to people all the time. We share. And if you're serious over just being curious, we do have some courses. We have the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle, where we go live every week or pretty much 4 times a month for our members and really go on a deeper level. So I would say that. But to men, I'll let you know, look, you have to increase your leadership skills. You have to increase your leadership skills, meaning that you have to be able to learn how to communicate more, to listen more, how to question everything, how to protect, provide, and exercise personal power. Those are the 3 things you have to do as a man. And it's a process for that. Going from a boy to a man, that's not good enough. I'm a man. That doesn't mean much, because there's men out here that are the biggest threats and predators to our children and our women and our entire society. Okay, there are men that have been blacklisted and blackballed from public eye that are actually doing the thing, but you have to do the thing to have the power. So you have to increase your leadership skills, which includes, again, communication, being more nurturing, being able to read between the lines, to be able to take whatever shot you need to deal with, but you got to have more courage. So you have to increase your leadership skills. And that's one of the things we talk about when they talk about you have to be more than twice the man. Because again, it's not just simply about having more women. That's not something hard to do. Many Gumps and Lil this and that with different color hair and weave that they wear. They do that. You know what I'm saying? What was that? It's ridiculous. So increase your leadership skills is the number one thing for a man. That doesn't mean you're a dictator. That means you're an actual leader. You're assertive, you're masculine, you have your masculine energy. You understand there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. That's just a bad man. But until you can be able to articulate that and understand that and stand on your points and exercising personal power, then you ain't at that level yet. So if you're considering it, make sure you're twice the man that can handle it, because there's far more than just something for the others. Like I said, if you want to put our family in here, we over 15 deep. This ain't just the 3 of us living in the house and we talking Black polygamy and all that and it's cool and it's no, not at all. We actually very private, but we had to weigh whether or not the privacy is important, because the most people who are successful in polygyny, they're quiet about it, they do their thing, and that's what we were doing. Or do we want to empower more people? Do we want to take excuses away from others? Do we want to actually show them Black love in this perspective where you can actually win at it and thrive at it and develop fulfilling, strong relationships and actually nation build on it? So we decided that weighs a whole lot more than to just be private and have an individual success, because that's the first level. The second level is significance, where you empower others. And that third is legacy, where we do it for generations. So that right there is king talk. And in order to practice polygyny, and if you want to win at it, not just collecting women, going through them, people are already practicing polygamy today. When they got boyfriends, girlfriends, that's my ex and that's this, that ain't nothing but polygamy. All right, men doing it, women doing it. Polygyny is a whole nother level. All right, so that's what I'm going to say from my perspective, and then let you know who want to go.
We appreciate that king talk, brother. Go ahead, Coach Nyla.
Just, increasing your value and knowing the value, knowing your value. That's the thing, they ask about jealousies and things like that. When you know your value and when you are constantly improving on yourself, it's about growth. If you're focused on growth and you're growth focused, things aren't going to bother you things aren't going to bother you as much as if you're not focused on that. If you're focused on the minor, minuscule, minute little pieces of every little thing, you're going to be broken. You're going to be, destroyed. You're going to let any and everything destroy you. So yeah, if polygyny is not right now, it's not getting its fair share. It's not getting its fair shake. Yes, people would sit there and talk about it and ostracize it and everything like that. And if you're not working on you, you will let it break you. But if you are working on you and focusing on minding your marriage, we talk about minding your marriage, not trying to compare yourself to this person and that person and what this looks like, and building your own marriage and building it the way you want it to be, regardless of whether you decide to practice polygyny or not. But you start doing that and focusing on that initially, practicing polygyny is going to just be that next step. You're just going to use that and utilize that while you're practicing polygyny. It's going to make you that much smarter, that much wiser, and you're just going to grow. But you got to be focused on your growth.
Appreciate that, Coach Nyla. Coach Fatimah.
I thought about it, and for years, I found that if I wasn't going to say anything nice, I wasn't going to say anything at all. But I found that polygyny is here to bond, not break a family. So it's just part of another form of marriage to expand the family, just like monogamy. I think we give power to these words that they're not ever supposed to have. So when we say polygyny breaks families and it breaks marriages and it breaks men and women and children, says who? Says who? Is that the people that don't want it, period, saying that? Or the people that are successful with it saying that? So once we start, again, thoughts are things, and we can manifest a bad monogamous marriage or we can manifest a bad polygynous marriage. The choice is yours. We're all grown here. So it's indeed what you put in it. And people think it's this magic spell you can put over it. You're going to do work in marriage anyway, if it's going to be healthy. See, a lot of people don't want polygyny because they don't want to do the work that it takes. But if sometimes if you don't want polygyny, you don't want monogamy, that just let me know that either you don't have the tools or you don't want to do anything. You don't want to put in what it takes. So people want this life, but are you willing to give up and sacrifice some things in order to live it? It's great in theory. A lot of men want to be polygynous, but are you willing to do king and queen things to be here? This is not something that you do overnight, and it is not easy, but it's doable and can be done in a healthy way. And if we could leave you all with that, that's what I want to offer you. But it's all about healthy intentions. You can have really horrible intentions, really evil intentions, divisive intentions, and watch it blow up in your face. But when you know that you all have healthy intention on your family, that the man that is married to I don't care if it's 4 wives, if he's a healthy minded man and he wants his family to be healthy, and not traumatized, he gonna work on that. He's gonna do what he has to do. And nobody's really gonna have to tell him, maybe guide him, but that should be his desire to have a healthy family. And if he doesn't, he's not the man for the job at all. He's not the man for the job for monogamy or polygyny. So I'm gonna leave it there.
uh, you got something to say, Coach Nyla?
Yeah, just real quick. Another thing is just making sure you're open-minded and look to those who are successful in it. You know, you have people that are successful that are showing, you know, the way. You know, they're showing the ups and downs and different things like that. So, you know, make sure you follow that. And follow us. Follow us on Instagram at Outstanding Relationships, and our Facebook and our YouTube, Outstanding Personal Relationships. Because yeah, we could hundreds of hours of video on what we were talking about here, and much more. So,
Great,
yeah.
great. Well, that's the end of my show. I once again, Coach Nazir, Coach Fatimah, and Coach Nyla, I truly appreciate you being here on my first Facebook Live. And it was very successful. And it was very successful. Once again, it was a distinctive honor for have you and your wives here, brother. I learned something today from all of you, and I have nothing to say on this because you know all and people and my cousin asked me this, why the hell you picked this topic? Because I got my podcast, it talks about various things. It talks about youth suicides, it talks about domestic violence, so my podcast is for everybody, but I want to give this lifestyle a microphone and have it explain to the people what it is, and not what society think it is, what it really is from people that are actually practicing it. So for the people that are listening and watching, that's why I picked this show. And I once again, I thank the coaches for coming on. For the people that don't know that I have a podcast, it's RE.B.U.K.E.E, Reestablishing Black Unity, Knowledge, Education, and Economics. You can listen to it on Apple, Google, Spotify, and all that. But this one happens to be the first one, so you can actually watch this one live. So I have nothing else to say, but my slogan, I always say this on every show, is that knowledge is power, economic freedom and salvation. But if you put the two together, we can build a great nation. Thank you, Coach Nyla. Thank you, Coach Nazir. And thank you, Coach Fatimah, for coming on the show. And thank you all for supporting my podcast. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Thank you, brother. Peace. All right. I am Coach Nazir, one of the co-founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships.
And I'm Coach Nyla, his wife. No, I'm Coach Fatimah.
Yes.
Stand by subscribe. That was vicious. Let's try that again.
Oh. See, it's getting late. That's why we do it early.
It's time for y'all to go to bed.
She come Nyla. Oh, man. All right. Oh my God, that's hilarious. All right. Redo that one. All right. All right. All right. Hey, I'm Coach Nazir, one of the co-founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships.
And I'm Coach Fatimah, his wife.
And I'm Coach Nyla. I'm also his wife.
And we are, again, we're co-founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, where we help people really build and develop themselves to be marriageable, to have happy, healthy marriages, whether in monogamy or polygyny, or if you're looking to establish a marriage with fulfillment. with bliss and something that's building towards the future, where you can work on that in the present. So you can get more information about that at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, or, look for more information on our relationship mastery inner circle, where we go live every single week, where you get downloads, you get the audios, the workbooks, get to speak to us directly, get our personal emails and stuff like that. So we work to equip, empower, and engage the community in living a pro-moral life with real Black love and with an emphasis on polygyny.
So make sure you guys are consistently practicing GLC, that you are growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace.
And make sure you tuned in to Rebuke Radio with the incredible Mr. Marcus Jones. All right. Out there equipping and empowering the community for everything. And really, it's not just about marriage and polygyny. Plug in. We love it. That's our brother. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace. Appreciate it, man. Thank you once again for coming on the show. I don't know how this live on Facebook Live. Do I hit
Just
end?
stop it. Go to the bottom area where you made it live. You can go ahead and stop it from there, bro. You good.
And
We still behind the scenes.
Okay, we still behind the scenes. So y'all good.
No, everything's still, we behind the scenes on ours, but you got to go to the bottom on yours, and then you'll be able to go ahead and stop that first, and then stop the recording. You'll be good to go.
All right, appreciate it. Y'all have a nice day.
Likewise, brother. Be well. Peace.
Peace.